As a singer, it's very pertinent that you take very good care of your voice. Your voice is that tool you never want to lose. I mean, you can lose your hair. It's kind of like, okay, you can lose your hair, you can lose your beard, but you don't want to lose your voice. Your voice is the most important tool you will ever use. I remember when I initially started singing, I had this bad habit of drinking anything and eating anything. I mean, anything goes, as long as it tastes good, it looks good, hallelujah. I take it straight, But when I started singing and started paying more attention, to my voice, then I started realizing that, there are certain drinks I need to stay away from. There are certain foods I need to stay away from. As a singer, you actually need to take more water, than any other drink. I mean, science has it that for a singer to lubricate his or her voice, effectively, you must drink nothing less than 6 to 8 cups of water daily. Yep, 6 to 8 cups of water daily. You can take more, fine, but don't take less than 6 to 8 cups of water. Why? As a singer, your voice needs to be hydrated for it to work perfectly well. That leads me to one of the dangerous drinks we love, caffeine. I used to be a lover, an addict of caffeine. At least in a day, I would have maybe like 5 to 6 cans, and that's like, it kind of like makes me feel high and strong and alert and all that. Yes, it does give the feeling and, the appearance of strength. But as a singer, what it is actually doing is it's drying out your vocal folds. As a singer, you need to have a well-lubricated vocal fold and thorax, to be able to expand and retract. Now, when you take too much of caffeine, what then happens is a lot of people don't actually know that caffeine is a drying agent. It doesn't help lubricate. In fact, what caffeine does is that caffeine dries moisture from your voice. Instead of giving you that lubrication, to be able to move from one register to the next, what caffeine does is the direct opposite. It sucks away that moisture that your vocal folds need to be able to express certain vowels properly. I mean, vocal science has it that you mustn't take more than 150 milligrams of caffeine a day. If you must take caffeine, there are some of us who are just addicts of coffee. And there are some people, it's energy drinks from, I don't want to mention brands, but all sorts of energy drinks, yo. In as much as it gives you this, appearance and, impression of strength, as a singer, you are doing more damage to your voice than you should. So as a singer, you must try as much as possible to keep your vocal folds well lubricated. See to it that you kind of like, you need to start loving on water, Before you go for a performance, it usually is very, very, very important to stay away from caffeine or stay away from any drying agent. I mean, I'm also going to speak about milk. It's amazing how milk also has, a nasty effect. There are some soda drinks that we take a lot, I don't want to mention names for the sake of brand wars. There are some soda drinks that we take that actually contain caffeine. Now, there is no problem in you taking caffeine, but just make sure that the caffeine you are taking for a day, if you need caffeine for a day, don't take more than 150 milligrams. Some of us just buy this, citric drinks and, we just gush it down. We don't read to see how much content of saturated sugar there is, how much caffeine there is in the drink. As a singer, you need to pay more attention to that tool you are using, your voice. So you must see to it that the caffeine level isn't more than 150 milligrams. And you know that once you have that, 150, that's it for the day. Except, of course, you don't intend using your voice for a long period of time. If you just want to use your voice, maybe like for like 2 years and die out, oh, fine, but be my guest. Take as much caffeine as you want. I remember once I did an experiment on myself. I bought these soda drinks, the colored ones, from yellow to black to all sorts of colors, and I took one, went into the vocal booth. It had caffeine. And I took it and went into the vocal booth and I was singing. And I realized that, I sang pretty well. I didn't have any problem singing. And then I rested for like 1 hour and then started taking water instead. I took water for like about 30, 35 minutes. And I tried singing the same song again. I realized that first and foremost, my range was clear than when I had taken the soda that had caffeine on the inside. And then I found it very easy to belt, come back, get to my lower registers, go back. I could sing from my belly, sing from my chest, sing from especially my head voice. I could sing from my head voice without having migraine. Now, when I sang the first time taking caffeine, I kind of like felt okay, but if I pushed more than 2-3 hours in the vocal booth, I probably would pass out, And I thought to myself, okay, let me do a little bit of research into the advantage of, caffeine, what it does to the voice, not necessarily the body, but the voice. And I realized that caffeine is a drying agent. Caffeine does not aid your voice in any manner whatsoever. It aids your body, yes, for strength. But if you need strength, there are tons of foods you can eat, that are saturated in sugars, that have carbs, that you can take for energy. For your voice, you have to be very careful. Excessive intake of caffeine causes vocal fatigue. There are some people who can't do without certain brands. They must drink at least 2 to 3 bottles a day. Fine. You probably argue with me to say, oh, I know 1 or 2 people who take caffeine and they're fine, they're good. In fact, their voices are in top shape. Yeah, give them a few years. You got to realize that their voice starts breaking. And when I say breaking, not breaking like from a teenager into an adult. It starts becoming more husky and less definition is achieved. You tend to have more than and there's a huge difference between both. Check out most of the best singers we have, from Anita Baker to Whitney Houston, even to R. Kelly. Check out some of these guys. They speak about what they drink, and a lot of them, especially Anita Baker, runs away. She said she can't do caffeine. And I'm thinking, how? How can you live without caffeine? And then I listened to her albums like 15, 20 years ago, and I listen to her albums now, and I realize the voice is still the same. The voice, there is no change, there's no aging of the voice. So if you want your voice, to be the best it can be, then you need to treat your voice right. Another agent you need to run away from is dairy foods. One thing I've noticed with dairy foods is you produce more phlegm. You'd sing a little bit of you keep bringing phlegm. Whenever you eat chocolate, check to find out what that chocolate is made up of. Oh, there are some people who say, oh, black chocolate is good. Yeah, the same way some people say, oh, red wine is better than other wines. Trust me, you don't want to use your voice as a test, as a dummy test for years to find out what works or what doesn't work, Dairy food doesn't really do well with the human voice. It just helps you to just create more phlegm. Now, another thing you need to observe is yourself. Different foods work for different people. There are some people who would eat, I'm a Nigerian and we have all sorts of food. Some people eat like, maybe like okra, and they try to sing and danger. They can't, their vocals are just kind of like hooked. It's like brakes on a tire. It's screeching. And some people will eat the same okra and hallelujah, they would sing so well, no stress. You need to observe what you eat and find out how it affects your voice. There is not one particular rule that fits everybody. You need to find out what works for your body, because the way our body metabolism works is quite different from each other. What works for this person may not necessarily work for you. So you need to observe what you eat. Is it groundnut oil? Is it, is it cake? Is it, for some people, it's cheese. I don't do cheese for life. I stay away from cheese because I don't want phlegm, you know. You need to find out what it is that you eat that, causes your voice not to be in top form. How? Eat, wait for 30 minutes, sing. If you can't hit your registers properly, you're in danger. You can't just guess and just go online and just go, oh, what works, what makes the human voice the best, and what puts the human voice in the best shape possible. No, you need to do a test, a crash test for yourself. Eat little of these foods and see, how it works. Someone like me, I eat pepper a lot. A lot. When I eat pepper, if I'm not sweating, I haven't eaten enough. So I know what works for me, but I take a lot of water. So as a singer, try as much as possible to keep your voice always hydrated, always hydrated. You may not like water, but it does more good for you, and it keeps your voice, it keeps your vocal folds in good shape. Of course, there's exercise, yes. There are tons of stuff you can do. But in terms of the vocal range of a singer, your best bet to keeping your voice in shape is keeping your vocals well lubricated. Keep your vocal folds well lubricated. Stay away from a lot of caffeine. Stay away from tons of cheese, tons of dairy food. And like I said, do a test for yourself to find out what works for you and what doesn't work. But in general, stay away from whatever will destroy your voice. The older you get, the better your voice should become. Pay attention to what destroys your voice and stay away from it, even if you love it. You should love your voice more if you're a singer, Keep your voice lubricated and protect your vocal folds.